Have you ever been in a meeting where something's proposed and just crickets? Complete silence? Well, we're going to dive into a workplace experiment where exactly that happened, and what it reveals about our brains when it comes to money and fairness. It's pretty wild.
Okay, so picture this. You've got a manager and a team of 11 people. The manager suddenly announces a huge change to how they're all paid. Some of you are getting a raise, some of you are getting a pay cut. Ouch. But then, to try and smooth it all over, they say, hey, what if we just share the difference? So everyone stays equal. Seems fair on the surface, right? Maybe even kind of generous.
But what happened next? Not a debate. Not a, yeah, let's do it. Not even a heck no. Just silence. A thick, heavy, awkward silence. You know the kind I'm talking about, where you could hear a pin drop. Nobody said a word.
So what in the world happened here? Why the silent treatment? Here's the fascinating part. This wasn't just a random, awkward moment. It was actually a totally predictable outcome. It was caused by 4 invisible psychological forces bubbling just under the surface. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly what those forces are.
All right, let's start digging. The first 2 clues to this mystery are all about how this change was rolled out and the confusing ideas about fairness it created.
So, condition number 1, they basically told the team, hey, your new pay is based on your degree and your experience. Okay, but that's it. No details on the formula, no way to ask questions or appeal if you think they got it wrong, no input whatsoever. The decision was just handed down from on high. And this is a huge deal. It hits on a core psychological need we all have, called procedural justice. See, it's not enough for the outcome to seem fair. We need to feel like the process to get there was fair too. When you're shut out of the how and the why, your brain just screams, this isn't right. Trust evaporates, and your gut reaction is to just shut down.
Okay, so on top of that, the company created this, well, it's like a mental traffic jam. Think about it. The new pay system itself was all about equity, meaning your individual inputs, like your experience, determine what you get. But then, the manager's proposal to share the money, that's about equality, where everyone gets the same thing, regardless of input.
So the team is hearing 2 completely contradictory messages at the exact same time. First, you are special, and your unique skills determine your pay. And then, forget all that, let's just make sure everyone gets the same. They're being pulled in 2 different directions, stuck between 2 totally opposite definitions of fair.
This mental tug-of-war has a name, cognitive dissonance, and it feels terrible. It's that cringy, uncomfortable feeling you get when you're holding 2 conflicting thoughts in your head at once. And what do we do when we feel that way? The path of least resistance is to just do nothing. You freeze up, you pull back, and you definitely stay silent. So we've got a lack of trust and a huge dose of confusion. But the next 2 ingredients in this recipe for silence, oh, they're even more powerful. We're talking raw emotion and serious social pressure. And this brings us to condition number 3, and it's a big one. They dropped this bomb on everyone at the same time in the same room. So imagine you're sitting there and you just found out you're getting a raise. Awesome. But the person right next to you, your friend, just found out they're getting a pay cut. Can you feel how tense that room just got?
To really get why this is so bad, we have to talk about something called prospect theory. This idea literally won a Nobel Prize, and it's based on a simple but game-changing truth about our brains. Losing something hurts way, way more than gaining that same exact thing feels good.
So how much more does it hurt? The research says a loss feels about 2 to 3 times more powerful than a gain of the same size. So in that room, even though there was some good news, the bad news was emotionally 2 or 3 times louder. The pain from the pay cuts just sucked all the air out of the room. I mean, even the people who got a raise probably felt anxious and guilty, right?
And that brings us to the final nail in the coffin. The manager put people on the spot. They asked for this act of generosity, of altruism, in public. They essentially asked the winners to give up their raise right in front of the losers.
This sets up a classic social trap called pluralistic ignorance. Think about it. If you got the raise, you don't want to be the first person to say, no thanks, I'll keep my money, and look like a total jerk. But you also don't want to be the one to say yes and have everyone think you're a pushover. So what do? You look around to see what everyone else is doing. And what do you see? Silence. So you assume everyone else is cool with it, and you stay silent too. It's a vicious cycle.
Okay,
So now we've got all our clues. Let's put it all together and solve this thing. Why the wall of silence?
It's because when you mix all four of these forces together, silence isn't just an awkward reaction, it's the only possible reaction. You got no trust because the process felt shady. You're mentally confused because the definition of fair keeps changing. The whole room is emotionally supercharged with the pain of loss. And on top of all that, you've got this immense social pressure not to say the wrong thing. It's the perfect storm for total inaction.
And that brings us to the real takeaway here, the big one. Pay is never just about the numbers on a spreadsheet. It's deeply, deeply psychological. It's tied into our sense of self-worth, our trust in our leaders, and our feeling of safety with our team. And if you try to make a change like this while ignoring all that human stuff, you're setting yourself up for failure. Period. Okay, so we've spent all this time breaking down what went wrong. The obvious next question is, how do you get it right? How can a leader or a manager handle this kind of change in a way that works with our brains instead of fighting against them? Well, here's a simple 4-step playbook. 1. Go private first, always. Have those tough, one-on-one conversations before any big group meeting. 2. Pick a lane. Stick to one principle of fairness. Don't try to mix and match equity and equality. It just confuses people. 3. Cushion the landing. If people are going to lose out, find a way to introduce it gradually to lessen the emotional shock. And finally, number 4, make generosity optional and private. Let people be generous because they want to, not because they feel pressured to in front of their peers.
At the end of the day, it really boils down to this. Companies pour incredible amounts of time and energy into designing their products, right? Every detail is considered. But when it comes to designing change for their own people, they often just wing it. If we want change to actually stick, we have to treat it with that same design-centric mindset. We have to put human psychology right at the heart of the blueprint. And that leaves me with one last question for you. These psychological forces we've talked about, they're not just in this one story, they're happening all the time, everywhere. So think about your own workplace. Where might a little bit of confusion or mixed messages or social pressure be creating a silent experiment right now?